Lumpy Pear's Bedtime Adventure, episode 20. That's right, we're on episode 20. And Lumpy woke up. It was 5 in the morning, very early, because everybody went to sleep so early. If you remember,
I was early twice.
Yeah, if you remember, they all went to bed when the sun was coming up, because the night before they were all in the Enderman temple, where the Endermen were revealing all of their secrets. And it was 5 in the morning, and Lumpy woke up to banging and clanging and noises of all kinds of sounds of people making things. Everyone was excited. Everyone was inspired from the things that they learned. Lumpy looked out the window. Sir Joseph was on a board with wheels on it, saying, "Whee!" Lumpy knew what that was. It was a skateboard. He learned how to make a skateboard from the Enderman. Anderson was making all kinds of explosions and potions and things that were going up in the air. They looked like fireworks and rockets. Yeah. Juliet Caesar was cooking all kinds of yummy things. Princess Sydney was making all kinds of outfits and new skins and clothing of dresses and weird stuff that nobody ever saw or even thought they could possibly wear. Kitty Ranger was making all kinds of super long bows that could shoot arrows 10 times farther than any other arrow. That is crazy. Logan and James. Yeah, James and Logan. Logan and James. It works both ways. They were learning all kinds of new combinations of smelting, mixing two metals together to make super alloys, super strong armor. Avery was also cooking with Juliet Caesar all kinds of yummy things, all kinds of magic cakes. Everybody was creating. This was not what anyone expected from the Enderman. The curse is what made the Enderman destroy, taking blocks from everybody's buildings. But apparently the Endermen know all about creating, and they were willing to share it with everybody. Everybody was having a good time. It was so fun. Well, they lost track of the time. Lumpy couldn't help but think about the Nether portal and the Ender portal and whatever this other portal was. He knew how to make all three. And he had this idea after being taught by the Enderman that if he was going to defeat the Ender Dragon, he would need a very special sword. A sword that would be tempered in the flames of the Nether.
What does tempered mean?
Tempered means hardened. He went over to Logan and James and Logan, and said, "You guys, I need you to make me a sword, whatever the best sword is that you possibly can make, and I'm going to take it into the Nether." He went over to Sir Joseph, who was learning all kinds of new tricks on his skateboard, and the skateboard park that he built. It was so cool. "Sir Joseph, would you mind making a Nether portal? You know how to do it, right?" Sir Joseph gave him a thumbs up. "Of course I do." Lumpy went over to Anderson. Anderson, I'm going to need any kind of potions that you think I might need going into the Nether. Torchy was right there, flying up in the rockets, and you could see his face. It was like it got even bigger, exploding in the explosions in the sky. Torchy, I need you to come with me.
Wait,
Everybody was working together.
is Torchy like a ghast?
No, he's a ghost. So, by the end of the day, everybody met over at Sir Joseph's Nether portal. And Lumpy said, I'm not going to take long. I just want to make this real quick. But I'm going to go stick this sword in the fires of the Nether. I'm going to have Torchy come with me, because nothing can kill him. Or at least so we think. And Anderson handed over a bunch of potions of healing and strength. And so Lumpy drank them all right before he jumped into the portal. But right when he got to the other side, Lumpy regretted drinking it all. He really had to go to the bathroom. And he did not want to waste time in the Nether looking for a place to go. Come on, Torchy. They looked all around. Lumpy had never been in the Nether. He heard about all kinds of beasts that lived only in the Nether. Like ghasts. And what else is in the Nether? A blaze?
And zombie pigmen.
Yeah, zombie pigmen, blazes, and ghasts, and withers.
Wither skeletons.
Yeah.
Wither skeletons.
Well, Lumpy was trying to keep it on the DL. Do you know what that means?
No.
The down low. He did not want to get caught. He found a blazing fire. This was a huge fire. And he threw the sword in and watched it get white hot. And then he thought, well, it was getting white hot. Uh-oh. I better not run into any bad guys, because the only sword I had is now red hot, and I can't use it.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, burned it.
How's he going to pick up a blazing hot sword?
Oh. I thought only he only put the tip like that.
So Lumpy squatted down behind some rocks, and he saw zombie pigmen walk by. And if you know anything about pigs, even zombie pigs, they have excellent noses. They could tell something smelled delicious. It was Lumpy. They wanted to eat Lumpy.
Why?
Because they're zombies, and zombies eat brains. So Lumpy, when the pigmen would come on one side of the rock, he would run to the other and hide the whole time. Torchy was in the fire watching the sword. And then Lumpy realized, I don't know how to get out of the Nether. Do I just go back through the portal? He looked over at the portal. He'd never been through another portal, so he hoped it would take him back to where he came from. Torchy screamed, "Sword's done!" All of a sudden, ghasts and blazes and zombie pigmen and what? Magma cubes, all kinds of mobs
Wither skeleton.
looked over at Lumpy, who had a pair of tongs and a bucket of oil. And he was taking the sword out, and he dipped the sword in the bucket of oil. That's how you finish tempering a blade. And do you know what happens when you dip something red hot in a bucket of oil?
Oh my gosh.
It exploded hot, fiery oil everywhere.
Did he have something wrong?
It didn't land on Lumpy, but it landed on all the mobs. Well, that's fortuitous, Lumpy said. Fortuitous means that's very good luck. Good fortune. Come on, Torchy, let's get the heck out of here. Lumpy grabbed the tongs because he knew the blade would still be crazy hot. He pulled out the sword with the tongs. And it was still crazy hot. Instead of being white hot, it was red hot. It was still slowly cooling. And he dragged it behind him, holding on with the tongs. Let's go. And they jumped through the Nether portal back into the Minecraft realm. It was nighttime. And who was standing there on the other side of the Nether portal? The Enderman King, 11 of the Enderman rulers, and the whole gang. And it was nighttime. How long was I in there? All of a sudden, Lumpy looked down. In all of the excitement and all of the scariness, he peed his pants. I just remembered something. I gotta go. It was dark enough that nobody else noticed. He ran. He left the sword. Torchy was laughing because darkness doesn't matter to Torchy. He could see.
Why did he pee his pants?
Because he drank all those potions and he was in there for so long, and then he got scared by all the mobs that were coming after him. He ran all the way to the inn and he threw his dirty pants into the fire.
Who throws them?
Jumped in the... He didn't want to wash them. He didn't have time to mess around. He didn't want anybody to know. So he threw his wet, stinky clothes in the fire and ran and took a shower real fast and changed his clothes and came back.
Oh no, no. It's
Hi, guys.
stink of stinky.
No, we all went up the chimney. Nobody was the wiser.
Gross.
And he was looking quite snazzy in his new threads. And Kitty Ranger looked over, and because girls notice this kind of thing, you changed your clothes. Well, I want to look good for the Enderman King, you know. And Queen Juliet Caesar. I mean, we're in the presence of royalty here. We don't want to look like slobs, right? Besides, I was all sweaty. Torchy was just laughing and laughing. He knew what was going on, but he wasn't going to embarrass Lumpy. Not yet, anyway.
Was he in the shower?
The Enderman King looked at Lumpy. He was the only one that didn't know.
Didn't know what.
The Enderman King said, Lumpy, I have a surprise for you. He held out his long arm, and from his hand dropped the necklace, the pearl, the Eye of Ender. He obtained the 12th Eye of Ender. That was all they needed to open the Ender portal. Lumpy swallowed real hard. He knew what that meant. I'm not ready for this. I am not ready for this. I am not ready to face an Ender Dragon, the Ender Dragon. What about you guys? You guys gonna help me? He looked around. Everybody kind of looked away, kind of rolled their eyes back like they didn't hear what he said.
What?
Oh, man. the Enderman King said, Lumpy, we can't go with you. We can't go into that realm, or we will be cursed again. And until that curse is lifted, we cannot enter our lands. It is up to you. Lumpy said, well, I'm kind of thirsty. I was in the Nether. He was thirsty because, you know, he was sweating so much. And then we don't have to talk about what else happened. So, do you mind if I get my nerves right before I go on another quest? By all means, Lumpy, take your time. And when you're ready, we will show you how to open the Ender Portal. And we really appreciate you. And we really appreciate everybody who has come into your path and has decided to help in every way that they can. It really is amazing to help strangers and then you become friends. Lumpy said, okay, tell you what, let me have a day of just rest and to gather my thoughts, and can we meet again tomorrow night? The Endermen agreed, the Enderman rulers all agreed. Everybody was cautiously excited, cautiously optimistic. That means they didn't want to get too excited, but they were excited. They didn't want to. Do you know what optimistic means? It means you're looking on the bright side of things, the good side of things. They could tell that things were going to go right. At least they really hoped that they would. So that night, Lumpy laid in bed, staring at the ceiling. All he could think about was the dreams that he had coming up to this. Visions of the dragon. They seemed like he was seeing them while he was awake. These visions, they were like right in front of his face. It must have taken hours and hours for him to finally fall asleep. And when he did, his eyes closed. And suddenly, he was back home. And Trouble was licking his face. Oh, Trouble, I miss you. I know that I'm dreaming, but this is a happy dream.